it's a great way to make the most of what they have.
So if they don't have a budget, how do they afford you?
Well, because I'm indispensable.
There you go. All right, welcome back to the latest episode of Game Day Glare. I'm Lance. I'm with E, and this is the podcast for sports videographers. How you doing, E?
Good. Yourself? What's new?
Well, my hockey season's over. That's what's new.
That's true.
Yeah. Yes and no.
Are you excited about summer?
I'm getting excited about summer. I'm excited that I don't have to, look for parking and travel in the evenings to go down to the Bell Center. But I will miss the games, the crew, all that stuff. And when one season ends, it's always a little sad because you always have that belief that your team can go further, and the further you go, the more exciting it is, and the cool images you get to capture. But next year, I mean, it's definitely looking promising for our team. So that's a positive note. But it was fun. It was a fun experience. It's just too bad it's over, and that's it. But what about you? You got some more playoff hockey. You got a little bit more playoff hockey coming than I do, right?
Yeah. I'm filming the women's league. The playoffs are starting tonight. Oh, well, tonight it's in Montreal anyway. I don't know if they started already somewhere else, but yeah. So I'm filming there, and I'll be filming with Peter Sorellis, who works for the Ottawa team, the Charge, I think they call it. And they're playing Montreal in the playoffs. So yeah, I'll run into him later tonight and again on Sunday. So I'm spending Mother's Day with Peter Sorellis.
There you go. But don't be too nice to him because he's the enemy, right? If he's working for Ottawa and you're working for Montreal, just give him a quick wave, be courteous, but that's it. Don't let it go past that.
Yeah.
Or what you could do is after the game, show him all the Montreal goals you captured. And hopefully Ottawa has one.
Yeah. No, it's pretty cool the way they work. It's very sort of everybody works together sort of thing. Like I don't know if it's only on bigger events like playoffs, and because usually when I'm there, it's because it's either playoffs or it's like a big game at the Bell Center or things like that. So, and it's the approach. Like obviously each team has their videographer, but it seems like it's a very sort of, the league is sort of overseeing a bit of it. So both teams, videographers and photographers, all seem to be working together and providing the league with content, but also themselves. But yeah, it's very friendly. There's not much rivalry and sort of competition between the content teams. Let's put it that way.
Where in the NHL, everybody has their own content team. You very rarely are sharing stuff. People do reach out if they need a shot or something like that, but the majority of the time you're just on your own and that's it. So it's kind of, that's very cool that they do collab like that. I mean, it is a newer league, so you come in with new approaches, and I think that's a great approach to content, all that to share all that content.
And especially that it's like, obviously they have lower budgets than the NHL or any of the bigger sort of leagues that have been there forever. So it's a great way to make the most of what they have.
So if they don't have a budget, how do they afford you?
Well, because I'm indispensable.
There you go. All right, on to today's topic. So E and I were chit-chatting. Last episode was about the off season. So we were talking about, should you be the face of your videography brand? Now, when we started, E, I never thought I'd be hosting a podcast or you'd be running a successful YouTube channel. We never had the idea of being in front of the camera. But nowadays, you need to be in front of the camera to be able to sell yourself.
You don't need to, but it definitely helps. It definitely helps because I think of the sports videographers that I sort of remember that I, well, in saying that, there are like if you're not in front of the camera, then I might see your work and be really impressed, but I'll never know it's you, sort of thing. So if I do know it's you and I recognize you and I see behind the scenes content and things like that of you on Instagram, just showing yourself at work doing what you do, then I remember you. And when I need someone that does what you do, then you're the first person I'm going to think of. So that's the goal. But like if you're already super busy and you have more clients than you can handle, then maybe you don't need it. But yeah.
It's definitely nice to put a face to the work, right? And to show that you're an expert in your field. So I feel like that's a great way to show people that is by being in front of the camera. Now let's start off with like some personal stories. Did you ever avoid being in front of the camera? Because like me currently, I'm still struggling with it. So I started my YouTube channel, but
Oh,
all I've
sorry for
done
that.
is shared clips that we haven't used from this
Uh,
show so far. I haven't actually sat down and just talk to the camera myself and go through the processes that I want to go through because I'm still a little bit afraid. Where on this podcast I have you, so it sounds silly, but I feel like safe because I know it's just a conversation between friends, and we're all prepared. And I'm like, I just got to do the same thing for my YouTube, but I won't have you eat. So it's like I'm struggling with that, and it's not so much of being afraid; it's just so much of just putting myself out there even more. Have you ever had experiences like that? Or what was it like the first day you started doing your YouTube channel?
well, when I started the YouTube channel, it wasn't about me at all. It was about athletes and short stories about sports, more Australian sports at first because I was still living over there. So there was absolutely no conversations or even ideas or suggestions about me being in front of the camera at all. It was like a process of then the channel became more about UFC because I was working around the UFC a lot, and it was obviously but very popular content online. And but still I wasn't really in front of the camera until like, and when I was doing the UFC thing, that was while like vlogging was really like becoming a big thing. Like it was very popular, and then it started to be very popular, and it was like everybody thought that all they had to do was film themselves talking about their I'm going to lunch, I'm going shopping, I'm taking you guys with me, and they're all going to be all of a sudden come Casey Neistat, and life would be good. So everybody was doing it. But yeah, at some point I just realized we did started vlogging like the behind the scenes of sports. And to me it was exactly for that. Like for that period of time, like the idea of the channel was to, because I was working, I think I just no, I started before I sold my agency, but the idea was to promote what the what the company does basically. So I had a little agency that would do video production for sports teams, and so by filming ourselves doing being on events like that and working behind the scenes, it shows what we do, it shows who we are, and it makes people kind of feel like they know you. So when like I was saying earlier, when they need someone, they need that service, automatically they go, oh, I know a guy, and they kind of feel like they already have a rapport with you, and they kind of want to work with you because they feel like they already know you and trust you. It's not like going on Google and typing like sports videographer in my area and just like hoping for the best sort of thing. So it almost like replaces that like word to mouth, like getting like a friend recommending you sort of thing, because you see it live on the screen on Instagram or on YouTube. And so that was the idea originally why we started doing it. And then it became even more about me because getting making videos about sporting events all the time was, I was still doing it, but it was hard. It's not like I had an event every 4 days. So I started doing like sports videography stuff, and that picked up more from a it made it a lot more easy to just be consistent and have like a niche topic that would talk directly to a niche audience. And so I chose to go in that direction, and so happy with it, obviously. Still doing it to this day. But yeah, the idea was to promote the business. And even today, um, I do the sports videography. I love like teaching and helping and showing all these things, but it's also obviously a window to the products that I sell on my website, whether it's my LUTs, my visual effects, my sound effects, all that sort of stuff. So it's always a good way to 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 promote yourself no matter what you do. Like it's not just for content creators. Like when I go on TikTok or Instagram, I see a bunch of reels from like there's all these different businesses, whether it's a restaurant, a garage, whatever it is, that they use like trends to promote their business. They're making videos that have absolutely nothing with to do with what they actually do. for the business, but they promote the business by doing like trend videos and things like that. And yeah, it's just a way to put yourself out there, make people see you and get to know you and then trust you. At the end of the day, like trust is what everybody's looking for when they're hiring someone for something they've never hired anyone for before.
You build that trust, I guess, through the internet, right? Because they see that you're consistent, they see that you're putting stuff out there, they see that you're an expert in your field. So it's your way of self promotion, and it is a nice twist on helping people too, because you're like, hey, you might not hire me or we might not work together, but here I'll share my tips on how you can achieve this same goal that I did or how you can achieve this look in your video. So it is a kind of full circle service where they can hire you or they could just take from your YouTube channel and learn from you. So when did you realize that people were not just hiring you for your work, they were hiring to work with you?
Well, I think it's probably more like because in Australia, I don't think I was there. Maybe it was happening, but like I couldn't really notice it. Look, I was because it was such a small world. I think everybody who I was working with in Australia I already knew before. Like it's not like it's a small world, so we all know each other. So it's not like they didn't get to know me from my YouTube channel; they already knew me, sort of thing. But when I got here, uh, that's when it was a bit more obvious because every time I would reach out to to a team or to a school or something to go film an event, either that person would say like, "Oh yeah, I know who you are. Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, let's try to set something up," or I would get there and there would be a videographer or someone that'd be like, "Oh yeah, 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 how you doing? I've been watching your videos." So it's just like the idea that I was doing that, on the other side of the world, and I come here and I get opportunities because of it, was a bit surreal to me, to be honest. So that was cool. But like, yeah, I think it's the same for. And you don't have to be like a full time YouTuber like me. Like I think I see there's a bunch of guys that I see on Instagram that just without necessarily sitting down and talking to the camera like we do, just put themselves in their stories, like a lot of behind the scenes content, or they'll put a reel together where there's like nice edits and stuff, but within that edit there'll be a few shots that are just more of them doing the project. Maybe that's how it starts. So the thing, it goes from like the content creator to going into the content, just like little things like that that just identifies actually who's doing this, just so that it stays top of mind. It's brand awareness, basically. That's what it is.
I feel like people connect more with the person in the videos than like your company name, right? So they see you, they see your advice, they see the work you do. Well, once they see that face, they learn to trust you, and then yes, you might have a nice logo or you might have a cool company name, but they're like, hey, I want to work with E or I want to work with Lance. I don't want to work with Beyond the Game or Lance Inc. That's how people are connecting, and this is a great way to do that because it builds authority, it builds trust, especially like Instagram. You can even on LinkedIn too. You can have the same post on LinkedIn and on Instagram, but with different text, different stuff to show them the different avenues you do. It's probably one of the easier ways to get people to slide into your DMs too, because not everybody has your work email address or your cell phone. So it's an easy way that people can reach out.
Well, on that, I'll just say that, like, yeah, I think what's good as well, if you want to build a network and get more clients and things like that, like, yeah, you got to go meet people where they are. So if they are on Instagram watching content and things, it's much better to be there and obvious and easy to reach by DM than to send cold emails to everyone. You know what I mean? Like, just go meet people where they're already in that frame of mind, and just where it's just like an ongoing sort of conversation through like just replying to a story or something like that, rather than just going with the very formal email thing where they might not be in the mood to talk about content creation at that time. But yeah, I was gonna ask you, because you're like at the moment, like your content is more like what we're doing now. So does that, because I was talking about doing content on Instagram and things like that, and putting shots of yourself in there, but what you're doing at the moment is very different from that. It's very much so that talking head content that's more like talking about what you do and how you do it in the industry and things like that. So how does that help your business and your network and things like that?
So I'm trying to build more authority content. I don't want to actually show like the fancy reels, and all that. I do from time to time, but the majority of it is mostly talking head net because I'm aiming at corporations and looking at selling content packages for them who don't have a lot of social media in that. So when I put out that authority content, I'm just trying to talk to them directly and show them how important video is. Also, one of the reasons why I don't always do all the behind the scenes stuff is while I'm on shoots, I'm just too busy to get that footage. Like I'm focused on my client. What I should do is hire somebody to just follow me and get me that behind the scenes footage. Like even when I film the Habs games, I would love to have shots of me filming the game and having action and that. But there's no way for me to put an extra camera. I'm right against the glass. I don't want to block anyone else's view. I don't want to get into any licensing issues or get someone mad that I'm taking behind the scenes content constantly. So it's kind of tricky in that aspect because there is a lot of black tape when you are working for a pro sports team. Like just because I'm sitting down in the locker room and I'm filming the guys, go on the ice. Well, it doesn't mean I have a second GoPro there to show me showing them, and it's tricky. So I'd rather build that authority right now. I will share client videos, but I always make sure that my clients share it first and I'll reshare it after because I feel like once they've hired me, those videos are for them, for their clients. I'll definitely help them get a push on social media if they need. But I let them share that content and I'll just share it after. But so far it's working. Like when I do LinkedIn campaigns and I'm consistent, actually being consistent on LinkedIn is the biggest thing. When I'm consistent with talking head videos and I explain like the ups and downs of videography, like one post I had that went very, very well, I just explained like the steps of making a video, from scripting to lighting to gear to editing to color correcting and all that. And I just said, because everyone assumes video is so easy. So I said, by pointing your iPhone, can you do this? And I listed the list. And I got a lot of outreach because people didn't realize what goes into it. They only see the final product. They don't see the brainstorm meetings behind. They don't see you looking in your niche to see what others are doing or how you want to be different, how it goes with your brand, who's going to be in the video, how that person reacts on camera. Sometimes I'll show up to an easy shoot, and my most difficult part is coaching the talent because they're so uncomfortable on camera because this guy, he could be a lawyer and he's great in the courtroom, but when you put a camera in front of him, he's awful. So these are our challenges.
Would you say that like because when people approach you, like, well, first of all, do you approach them or do they approach you? Like, do you get like feedback from like, oh, I watched or I listened to your podcast and I want to work with you? Or is it more of a thing like they've seen clips that you post on on your individual sort of social media outlets, and that builds that sort of that brand awareness, and then when you reach out, they know who you are, and that's how the conversation starts, basically.
Yeah, so it starts by them seeing the clips and then they'll go and check the podcast after and see. And you know what? One of the comments that I get all the time on LinkedIn is your videos stand out. And it's silly, but like what you're seeing right now, there's just two lights behind me and I'm in focus, the background's out of focus. But if you look at LinkedIn, no one really posts podcast clips. So when you are scrolling, it does stand out a bit. So that helps me. And that's always the first comment I get. They're like, well, if we do something, can I get a look like you? And I'm like, yeah, for sure we could do that. That's not a problem at all. That's what I do. Why? But all it is it's just proper lighting, right? And
Yeah.
a good camera. So I'm bringing that anyway. It's just they don't realize that because a lot of people are just doing it on the iPhone, which is very, very efficient and it gets the message out there. But to have that pro look and a little bit of extra, well, that's what kind of makes you stand out, especially on LinkedIn. Instagram is, a completely different beast where people post everything from great cameras, cinematic stuff to just iPhone shot, GoPros, whatever they have. It's whatever you're into, you'll see on your Instagram, right?
Yeah. And how, like, I think we mentioned a couple times already, like that one of the purpose of doing this is to like create somewhat of an emotional connection with, the potential clients and people like that. So like, how do you do that? Like, how do you create content that creates that connection?
The content that I create that has connections, honestly, are usually when I tell people how I messed up, or how I'm afraid, or I show that I'm vulnerable, because I don't like being on camera. I'm not great at public speaking. I make mistakes. I make spelling mistakes. I make these kind of mistakes. When you share those real human parts, people look at you differently and they realize, look, oh, this person is just like me, And I feel like that's what really helps people connect, and that's what I try to do with clients too. Like when I go to a business and we want to do their brand story, yes, it might be great that they sell millions and millions of dollars of products. But at the end of the day, you have to show the people that work there, because if I'm going to buy your product, I'm buying it from you. So not every product, like, yes, you're buying a product that solves a problem and all that, but I want to know who I'm buying from. I want to be able to relate myself to that company, to that brand. So you have to show the people behind it, and you have to be able to show that those people are relatable. And it's tricky. It is tricky. But for me, like, on this podcast, you and we're just ourselves, right? We mess up, we stutter, we say like a lot, or we
Especially me.
say it's true. We say all those words, but that's just who we are. And being ourselves and being vulnerable and putting ourselves out there helps us with our audience.
Yeah, in the process. I think, yeah, people just like to be involved in the process and see, like you said, they want to relate and see that you mess up just as much as they do, and see how you react to those moments, and how like all these little things that happen throughout a shoot that gets you insecure about, am I good enough? Am I going to mess this up? To see that you have those moments as well, and that you push through them, and how do you push through them, like seeing that process, seeing you like genuinely getting through something. People love that. Even though, like, it's inspiring for other sports videographers who watch you, and it inspires them to do what you do, but it's also in a weird way reassuring for people to hire you, because now they feel like they're actually working with someone, that they're not just working with a company that is just trying to sell the idea that they're the best in the world, they're perfect, they never make any mistakes. But it's just like, everybody says that, like, it's not really believable. So like, what are you hiding? So by showing who you are and showing your weaknesses and your mistakes and things like that, then you come out as much more genuine. And now I know what I'm getting into. Now I know, like, I feel like I know this person, and there's not going to be any hidden agendas, or just, they're not going to be worse than everything I've seen in their videos. So if I love what I've seen in their videos, then I'm more than happy to work with them, as long as the price is right, obviously.
Exactly. It's all over the place. But we are in this awkward position, right? So we're expected to capture these great highlights, these great sporting moments. But then at the same time, we kind of gotta prove that we're actually at these events, with that behind the scenes camera that catches me filming the guy catching the touchdown. It's like we have to show so much, and it's tricky, because you don't want to get stuck in that imposter syndrome either, where you feel like, am I good enough, or who am I posting this for? It's like, do we always need that online gratification? Because we've all been there, where you make this super good edit and you're so proud of it, and you post it on your Instagram or Facebook, and you just like check your phone to see how many likes you got after, and you're like, wow, this nobody really engaged with this post, or I thought it was going to be better. And then I doing this exercise, like this podcast, I realized, and don't take this to the wrong way, listeners, I'm at a point in my life where I don't care what people say anymore. Like, I don't, like, if you don't like it, no problem. If I did something, I'll take that to heart. But people are going to accept me for who I am, or like what I do, or they're not, and I share this content to try and be helpful. I do this to make content every week to help my business, and B, to grow. The only way I'm going to get better on camera is to be on camera all the time. So I do this weekly, and it's a lot of work. We come up with ideas, we record, then we edit, then we come up with all our clips and what we're going to write on our posts and all that. And you realize, like, it's a lot of work, but you're going to have some people who love it and some people who don't. And that just comes with the territory of putting yourself out there. And it's scary. It's scary because our main job is to be behind the camera and capture sporting events and highlights and that. But somehow we got mixed into being in front of the camera and trying to be the expert, or so it's tricky. It's a weird situation.
Is there times where you regretted it, like where you watched back the video, a little behind the scenes, or a little story, or whatever the case may be, that you're like, oh, this is not good. I shouldn't have shouldn't have posted that.
Every clip we post, I cringe a bit because I'm like, oh, I don't like this, or oh, I don't like that. But I realize, like, just publish it. Just go ahead and put it out there. Just because I don't like my facial expression or something, I don't know, maybe my hair's out of place that day.
Yeah,
Is the messaging good?
like
What
today.
I'm saying, what I'm saying, is it helping people? That's what I'm that like for the podcast clips. That's what I'm really focused on. Like, can someone learn from this, or will they it bring them to listen to our podcast? Then who cares if I make a weird face, or if I got a booger on my nose, or whatever? It is what it is. What about you? What about you? Like, you've been on camera so often, right? And you you told me when you went to New York recently, you popped out your camera and you were kind of like, wow, no one really cares I'm doing this here. Where when you go to other places, everyone's watching you. So what's that like when you show up to a location and you bring your camera and you're doing that talking head and people are walking by, and it's got to be nerve wracking.
Yeah, but it's funny because it really depends on the environment. I feel like, as in Australia, for example, like vlogging never really. I'm sure there are plenty of vloggers in Australia, but it's not like a huge thing. And also talking to your phone, like just like FaceTiming, is not huge. Like you won't walk down the street and just see people FaceTiming. So if you do film yourself and just talk to the camera, for sure there's going to be tons of people like looking at you thinking like, what the hell is he doing? So it is scary, it is intimidating. Montreal, I kind of feel the same, a bit less, because there's a lot more people. I don't know, it depends which area you're in as well, I guess, but I feel it a little bit less, but still kind of. But as soon as I go to the US, well, when I go to the US, usually I'm in a big city, and I'm usually around the. I'm in a city that has a lot of events, things like that. So if I'm in Vegas, I'm in New York, I'm in places like that. Like I couldn't care less. Like, and I can tell that other people couldn't care less as well. It's just like no one cares. They're all on their phones. They're all talking, or they're looking at their screens. They're doing the same thing I am. And so really me talking to a mirrorless camera or me talking to a phone, it's the same. It's all the same. So no one cares. And especially if I'm in front of an arena that has a sporting event going on the next day or the day of, just people put two and two together and they're like, oh yeah, and another person doing a thing about what's going on here. Who cares? So from that, when I'm in that zone, I'm my only worry is to just get it done and make sure that the quality is all right, because it's not like being in my studio where everything is controlled. But yeah, I totally let go of that. But at the beginning, like I was really struggling with it. Like filming myself in public was a bit weird. Like just knowing that people can hear me talk to myself, things like that. Even in my office back in the day, um, there was a factory next door, and I could hear them when they were in the factory, which means that they can hear me when they're in the factory. So I've always felt like, oh, if I'm talking to myself, like they know that I'm talking to myself and they hear me, and it's weird and it's awkward. So you could tell if I would either wait until they left that room, or I would do it. But you could tell, like watching it back afterwards, that like my tone had changed. Like I was toned down. I wasn't as loud. I wasn't projecting. I wasn't as excited. Like everything changed because I knew people were well, not listening but hearing. And yeah, so yeah, I did struggle with it, but the more you do it, the less you care, sort of thing. So yeah, it comes with practice. Practice makes perfect, as they say.
So what have you learned about yourself from being on camera and filming yourself, talking to the camera all this time?
Yeah, well, just not be too concerned about what people think. Just do what you think is best for the video, for what you're trying to achieve with the video. So don't ruin, like for example, like I was saying, if you're trying to do a talking head for a video that has a purpose that's important to you, don't ruin this whole project by being shy in the moment and then doing a delivery that is probably gonna make your video not as good as it could be if you were just letting go of all those fears and just being yourself and being engaged and fun on camera. If you look scared and hesitant, and you'll first of all you'll start rambling and making mistakes. And so yeah, you're much better to just take a breath and just for the next 10 seconds not care about anything that's going on around you, go all in, and then the result is great, and then the video is great, and then it all goes more and more positive from there. So for me, it's just, yeah, letting go of those fears and just making the most of those opportunities, because it is fun to do those things in public. Like when I watch my videos, sometimes I'm like, yeah, it is kind of boring to always see me in my same office. Like it's good to see me in different environments. And also when I am, because I always do shoot a lot at events, just like filming myself doing my work, not necessarily talking to the camera. And I always try to remind myself, like, while I'm there, I might as well, do a little moment where I talk about one thing, or like if I was just testing a specific thing, maybe I could talk about it while I'm there. So it just makes the video a bit more engaging, because now sometimes like I'm in the office, then I'm at work, then I'm at this and that. So it just makes the video more fun. But the problem with sporting events is that sometimes I would like to talk, but there's music, there's all these things going on in the background that are just, I can't do it. It doesn't really work. Like the audio is just gonna be crap, or it's gonna get flagged for copyright. So yeah, I have to make the most of certain situations. I either have to get there really, really early and kind of have these conversations about something that I know I'll be doing later on while there's no music, or try to hide somewhere away from the music, but then it kind of defeats the purpose because I'm in some weird room with a shitty background. And because ideally you'd want to have like the game going on in the background while I'm talking to the camera, something like that. But yeah, with sports, it's not always easy to do that,
Do
unfortunately.
you have any cringe moments when you look back, or when you were filming something that you felt a little cringe when about being on camera and putting yourself out there?
Well, yeah, I've definitely felt cringe while filming, especially in Australia, while like filming myself in front of people, or just like doing. I would go to a park. Let's say I'd go to like a baseball diamond just to like have a bit of a sporting, um, backdrop while I'm talking about. I think it was a video that I made about like tripods, monopods, gimbals, like what should you use, sort of thing. And but then there's this old man who's walking his dog, and he sees me talking to camera, and he just stands there and he's watching me. He's further away. It's not like he's like right next to me, but he's just like looking at me, and he's just standing there and watching. And I'm like, oh, and I just sort of just my every like now I'm cringing about what I'm saying. I don't want to be too loud because I don't want him to hear. It's like, oh, it just becomes a thing. But once it's done, for me, like seeing myself on camera, well, obviously when I look at stuff I've done like 8 years ago or whatever, I cringe a little bit, but more like because my delivery was a lot stiffer back then. The quality of the video was obviously not as good. That doesn't really bother me. It's more the delivery. Like I find it's impressive how I've changed. Like not that it's impressive how good I am now, but just like I can't believe that back then I thought that was good. That's more what like strikes me. Like I'm like, wow, I was happy with that take. Like I look robotic as hell, and then I look like I'm reading off like a piece of paper that's right next to the lens, which was not the case at all. So it's like, wow, I can't believe that was my best take, and I went on with it. But it is there, it's working. People are liking the video, so like, because at the end of the day, who cares? Like people for my content specifically, like they want to learn something, they want to information. So if the delivery is not, if I'm not Leo DiCaprio, people don't really care. Like as long as I've given them the right information, you know what I mean? If I was a great actor and if I was like a great person that can ad lib on camera and be fun and entertaining and funny and all that, like it would probably be way better, and I would have probably a lot more subscribers. But I can still do with my own personality because the content is good, and that's what people want at the end of the day. So I think that to me that's what I rely on. Like it's like I don't really see myself as as special, I was gonna say. So like as long as
Oh,
I
you're
talk
special,
about
buddy. You're
something.
special. I've known
Yeah,
you for a
yeah,
long time. You're
exactly.
special. Don't We just don't tell people how special you are on the show, okay?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, just in the sense that like as long as I talk about something interesting and I teach people a thing or two, they'll be happy. Like I don't put pressure on myself to be like the funnest, the funniest, and the most entertaining YouTube personality ever, because I'm not. I'm not that guy. So like I'm just, you can just be yourself, and obviously like if you talk to me in real life compared to the way I talk on camera, I'm probably a bit louder on camera. You have to push it like a little 10-15%, just have a bigger smile, a bit more enthusiasm, things like that. But other than that, it's just, you just have to be genuine, be yourself, and take it from there. All right, that's my approach anyway.
Well,
How about you? Do
you're
you
killing
think
it.
you speak different on the podcast than you do in real life?
No, no, I kind of talk the same. I try and keep it the same, but I have done like some video spots where I put like a radio voice where I kind of like talk a little deeper. For some reason, I can't do it right now because I'm like about to crack up trying just thinking about it. But yeah, I have done that in the past. Why I started wanting to be on camera was I have clients that I expect them to be on camera, and it's hard for them. So I said, well, why don't I do the same thing? If I put myself on camera and I show them that I'm on camera and I could do it, because yes, I can coach someone else through it, but if I can't do the things that I teach or show them, then how am I really going to gain their respect, or how they're going to trust me? So that's why I decided to put myself on camera and start this podcast, and also for content. But then while doing this, I realized like maybe you feel the same, but so for me, Game Day Glare, or maybe Beyond the Game for you, um, they're both brands on its own, but at the end of the day, I feel like I'm the brand. Like I'm my own brand. So it was important for me to put a face to that brand, and that's why being on camera was the key. Now, it's not always easy. It's like you were talking about, not being the funniest or the most engaging. The idea is to tell the story, to get people to on your journey with you, to show them that you're authentic. I hope sometimes I'm entertaining. I hope sometimes I'm funny. But at the end of the day, I'm hoping that the message is getting across. That is really the main goal, is that people who listen to this podcast realize that, hey, I'm not alone as a sports videographer. People have challenges. Some people think differently than me, or can guide me in the right direction. That was really the main idea. Because when we were younger, we didn't always have an outlet like this. No one talked about sports videography. People were just like, "Oh, you work for the Canadians? That's cool. You go to every game? That's fun." And you're like, "Yeah, but it's work. It's not as easy as you think." So why don't we talk about like some of the difficulties of being on camera and being in this position? So, do you feel like you're an influencer?
Well, yes, because I get emails every day from brands who want me to talk about their little things. Usually not brands that are super exciting, so it's not like this is not a humble brag. Like I'm getting like these obscure brands from China that are trying to get me to promote their unknown product that is never going to go anywhere. It's just like a little accessory that's the cheapest that you can build, and use people like me to just do affiliate marketing to promote it. So yeah, it's nothing special. But
Okay,
yeah,
but
well,
wait,
I think
wait a
that
second.
the word,
The first time you got a brand offer, that must have felt
yeah,
pretty cool. Like, I know you downplay it and you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, it's not always things that you like. But the first time when, say, like DJI reached out, you must have been like, wow, I'm making it.
Well, the
Like,
first
I'm
time
making
it's
a
a
difference.
brand that you actually know, that's when it's really exciting. Well, the first time ever, no matter who it is, it's like, yeah, it's fun. At the very least, it lets you know that you're going in the right direction, especially if you're not really selling anything yourself, you don't really have anything to offer. All you have to make money is YouTube ads and brand deals. So brand deals is probably the way you'll make the most money. So when a brand reaches out, it's always exciting the first time, especially. But then it becomes when because I remember I think like the first gear review, because what happens most of the time, like there's a difference between a brand deal where a company is paying you to talk about their something, and just affiliate marketing, which is just someone will send you like a lens, for example, to review, and then you'll put a link in the description. And if someone uses that link to buy the lens, then you'll make a commission. So that's not technically a brand deal. It's just like anyone can do affiliate marketing, can sign up on their website as an affiliate marketer and put the link on their Instagram or their TikTok or whatever. But it's just that if you don't have any influence, if you don't have anyone following you to get advice on gear, you're never going to sell any, so you're never going to make any money. The only difference is when someone actually has a channel that talks about this stuff, then there's a possibility that 5, 6, 10, or maybe hundreds and thousands of people will buy that lens because you talk about it, and then you're making some money. So that's why for me, in my position, where I am right now anyway, it's just if I'm talking about something that makes sense to my audience, then I'm potentially gonna get some clicks. But if I talk about a product that no one knows or no one cares about or no one needs or is way too expensive for my core audience, I'm not going to make any money out of this because no one's going to click on it. They might click out of curiosity, but they're not going to buy. And there I am making a video about something that my core audience doesn't care about. So I don't get that many views. And I spent the whole week trying to learn about this thing, build a script to make it make sense for my. So I'm spending all this time, this energy to make this video. I don't get views. I don't get money. My viewers don't really like it that much. And all I got out of it is a free lens that I probably never going to use again. So like, what's the point? You know what I mean? It's wasting everybody's time ultimately. So that's why, like, that's what I mean. But like, at some point you got to choose. So for me, I choose those, the products that I do talk about on my channel. They need to be first and foremost interesting for my audience. They need to make sense for my channel, because if they don't, I'm no one's going to click on that link. So even if I did do it just for the money, say like, oh, I know, it has nothing to do with my channel, but at least I'll make money. No, I'm not. I'm not going to make money if it's affiliate market. Unless they give me money up front, I'm not making any money. So there's no point in engaging in these little, these obscure brands that offer me things that don't interest anyone, or the other way around as well. It could be like a great brand, but with a product that is so expensive. Like my two camera reviews that probably got the less views are the FX3 and the A1 Mark II, because they're just so expensive that it's most of my audience, they're not really that interested in watching a video about a camera they can't afford. You know what I mean? So I don't get that many views on those videos. So it's about knowing your audience and staying in your lane, basically. But all that to say that, like, yes, I do think that I am an influencer, and because of everything I just talked about. I do think the word influencer gets a bad rep. Like, I think like people talk about like it's a bad thing. But everybody on TV is an influencer. Like it's just an influencer is just like the new word for it. But every single person who's ever been an ambassador for a brand, who been on ads on television or on billboards, and that's all influencing. It's the exact same thing. So, but it's just that once they start seeing like 18-year-old kids making money with brands, it's like, oh, they're influencers. They're no good. They don't know what they're doing. They're just having fun, making easy money. It's not that easy. Like, you have to build the following first so that the influence actually has a chance of working. And that's hard work. And for a 15-year-old, that might have felt like that, a 15-year-old that's making videos about their lives and their video games and things like that. People look at that and think, oh, then, they're not doing anything special. But trust them, they're working hard. Like, they're filming all the time. There's a difference between playing video games and playing video games while filming yourself and being entertaining for people watching this, and making sure that it goes to everywhere it should go, and engaging with the content and with the community that likes you. And like it's a job. Like it's if it was that easy, everybody would do it. Like,
There's a lot of work of putting yourself out there. Like even, say on YouTube and that all the behind the scenes, you have a second camera. So you have to have extra gear that you have to monitor and make sure that it's in focus and filming you while you're doing your job. So you can post your little behind the scenes video after and then talk about it. It's not easy to capture all these moments. And like you said, like a video gamer, like they're also streaming live on Twitch and having to be entertaining and talking to everybody. Like try that. That is hard.
exactly.
That is
I
hard.
guarantee you, for every successful like 16-year-old like on Twitch filming himself playing video games, there's thousands of people who tried to do the same thing, thinking, yeah, easy, and then they're playing and they've got nothing to say, or they're like super boring, and they realize it once they watch it afterwards, and they're like, oh yeah, it's not that fun, I'm not that good, it's not working, and then they stop after doing it once, maybe twice. Like it is, you need, not necessarily that you need the talent, like that it's a given talent, but like you need to work on it, you need to get better at it. Like, and that's what's like when you were saying about like putting yourself out there, and getting better, and like watching old content. That's what's cool on YouTube. Like you can go see Mr. Beast when he started. You can go see like Marcus Brownlee, which is probably the biggest tech reviewer in the world right now. Like you can see his first video. He's like 9 years old, and he's reviewing like his mom's like computer mouse and on a webcam, and it's just, you can see a progression from there. The channel is him at 9 until him now. You can see all that progression, and that's crazy. But to the point, like he doesn't get better, bigger than that, as in terms of like influence. Because when's the last time you read a magazine, or went on TV to learn about iPhones or cameras or things like that? You don't. You go to YouTube, and so that YouTuber that was just doing it as a kid now is bigger than any media outlet for his niche.
So you have to put yourself out there. The challenge is people want gratification right away. And you don't get it right away.
Yeah,
Like even if
that's true.
you came out and you had a massive viral clip, after that clip, you're gonna die off. So the trick is to just keep consistent and keep putting yourself out there. You don't have to always be in front of the camera, but it's nice to mix it up with content and being in front of the camera and showing yourself, or show yourself in your behind the scenes. If you don't want to be a talking head, that's no problem. Like if you got a nice edit, we'll get someone to take a shot of you with your camera or editing or whatever, and add that in so people get to know who you are. But the real trick is to be consistent, because you're not going to get all those likes and all those follows overnight. You have to earn them, and you have to just keep showing up, and people know that they can trust you. And that's how you become the face of your company.
But other than consistency, do you have any other like more technical tips for people who would like to put themselves more on camera? Maybe it's hard to start with a podcast, but like what's like easy things that people can do if they're a freelance sports videographer to try to put themselves out there a bit more?
Just tell a story, whether it's your first shoot with a new team, or a new idea you have, or a behind the scenes of your, I don't know, media day or something. Just start. And if you're going to be doing a talking head, whether you don't need a podcast setup, you don't need lights behind you and that. You just need good audio, you need a clean image, and you need a clear message. And if you have those things, your image will improve, your lighting will improve after time, but just start by putting yourself out there, and start by showing what you do, and give people a little taste of what it's like to be you. I mean, I don't always do that because of restrictions and stuff, but it's definitely something I wish I would have done when I was younger. And now when I do setups and that, I make sure to take a picture, or I make sure to try and put a little camera to capture me setting up my lights or getting my client all ready for their shoot. it's hard once we're doing the shoot because usually I'm a solo shooter. So it's me with the client. I'm managing lights, I'm managing sound, I'm managing focus, I'm managing their behavior on camera. So it's a lot of stuff. But I do try and take the moment to just capture a little something behind the scenes. And I'll admit, sometimes when I have a big shoot, I am just as nervous behind the camera as I am in front of the camera because I want everything to be so perfect for them. I want their experience, my client's experience, to be amazing. I want them to be like, oh, that was fun shooting videos today, So I try and make it enjoyable. I try and make them laugh. I try and make them comfortable. I try and make it like everything is normal except they're talking into a camera, which is crazy because that's why I'm there. But I want the message to come out as from their heart, like, with purpose. And that is challenging. And, the night before I have a shoot, I pack my bag. I'm ready to go. In the morning, I wake up and I double, triple check everything. I still forget. There's always one little thing that somehow you still forget. And I'm nervous on shoots because I just want my client to be satisfied. I want them to be happy and I want it to go smooth. I don't care if there's a problem. If there's a problem, my client will never know about it. I will handle the problem, whether it's, I don't know, my mic failed halfway through. I'll have a solution. I'll have a backup camera. I'll have fixes for that. But my client won't know that I'm struggling with issues on the shoot. My main job is to make sure that the shoot for them is perfect. And the same for you guys. So what I suggest is just start, and I'm going to take my own advice too. And I will do like I've been posting YouTube clips, shorts and stuff and building it up, but I got to sit down and just launch my channel because I think it can help people.
Well, I think that's
videography.
it's a good way to start. Like when you say, "Oh, I've been just doing shorts and things like that." I was gonna say, like, yeah, for people who are a bit scared, just do like stories and shorts and TikToks, like just like simple things. Whether it's just a photo, boomerang, like just like little clips like that are just showing where you are and what you're doing. You don't even have to talk, you just show it, and at least like there's a little bit, you're getting the wheels in motion, you're doing a few things here and there, and then maybe when you got like a big shoot and you have time to do some behind the scenes content, and then you add that in and you do like a more of a reel or like a longer sort of piece of content that just just puts you out there a bit more. But just putting photos and stuff, it's already a step.
Listen, I downplay it. In the last year, the amount of content I put out compared to what I used to put out is crazy. Like I post every day. I still feel like it's not enough because I'm focusing on different things. I'm focusing on my company. I'm focusing on Game Day Glare. You're focusing on Game Day Glare. You're focusing on Beyond the Game. We got different things going on. And I still feel like I'm not putting myself out there enough. But if you look back to before I started this podcast, I would post like once every 6 months. So now to post every day and have a content calendar and have a bank full of clips with stuff written, ready to go, I do put myself out there. But I feel like there's still more I can do.
Then go do it now.
That's it. I learned from the best, When I saw E on his YouTube channel, I'm like, if E could do this, so I could definitely do this. Let me see if I can rope him in and get him to do a podcast with me.
But yeah, that's true. It's not that hard. Just need to get it. Just need to do it, and then you get more and more comfortable doing it. And next thing you know, you're on YouTube.
That's it. You're on episode 60 of Game Day Glare.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for this episode of Game Day Glare. We're just, hoping that you guys realize that to grow your business and to get out there more, that it might be a good idea to become the face of your company and put yourself out there.
Yes.
All right.
See ya.
Take care.